Hello, my name's Henry Wertin, and this is Real Estate in Lawrence, Kansas. Today we're going to be talking about going from contract to close. Immediately upon the acceptance of the contract, there are going to be a lot of details that we need to go through. This video is going to help you kind of see the surface of what it's going to entail. We're going to talk about these a lot more in detail in person, but hopefully this video helps give you an idea of what's about to happen. First things first, we need to deposit the escrow money. The escrow money is going to be deposited to the escrow agent who will hold that money until the contract closes. The next piece of it, we're going to want to take the contract and deliver it to the lender so they can get to work on securing your rates, locking in your rates, and working on the underwriting process. A lot of closings happen pretty fast, so we want to make sure those two things happen in a timely manner so we can get the ball really rolling. From there, we move right into everybody's favorite time, the inspection time, which is not everybody's favorite time, but we all have to do it to get to closing, so we do it. For the buyers, we're going to want to secure an amazing inspector, and I'm going to help you get through that. I've got inspectors in my toolbox who are incredible and who will do an amazing job. You ultimately get to decide what inspector we use, but we'll want somebody who really knows what they're doing, who's very detail oriented, who's going to tell us exactly what's going on with the house. For the seller, you're going to want to make sure you're not on the property, give the buyer plenty of space, let the buyer have at the property so they can see what they want to see, what they didn't see originally when they walked through the house. Please leave all the utilities on and make sure that you leave any keys for crawl spaces or garages, any of those sorts of things so they can have access to everything when they're there for the inspections. Once we get towards the end of the inspection phase, we're going to want to start finding a resolution for the repairs. What does that look like? Well, buyers and sellers are going to have to go back to the drawing board and discuss, find out what they found. What new material facts did they find? Is the furnace still working? Does the roof leak? Are the toilets all flushing properly? And if those things aren't, then how do we resolve that? Does the buyer pay for it or does the seller pay for it? Also during the inspection period, you're gonna wanna take time just for a second and reserve a moving truck. We live in a college town and those guys get so busy. So make sure once you know a closing date and you know when you're moving, go ahead and get that on the books and taken care of so that way that's secured for that day. 2 weeks before closing, we're almost there, but there's still some more details we need to go through. We need to make sure that the lender has all of their documents. So from a seller's point of view, the seller's going to want to make sure that the buyer's doing their due diligence to keep up and make sure the underwriting process going correctly. From the buyer's side, the buyer's going to want to make sure that they're complying with the lender, getting all of the documents in a time so the underwriter can have the loan ready and processed by the day of closing. You'll also want to make sure that at that time you've secured your homeowner's insurance and that's in place. Seller, you're going to want to make sure to call your homeowner's insurance and tell them that when your closing date is so that way you can cancel that policy at that time or transfer it to your new home. And you're also at this time going to want to go to the post office and get a change of address form. Some people you're not going to want to tell them you're moving because you don't want them to find you. Other people you're going to want to notify that you're moving. Family, friends, sometimes you want to pay your bills on time, sometimes you don't, but you'll need to get that change of address form done and taken care of so that way that's all in process before we get to the day of closing. So we're almost there. We've got 3 days until closing. A few things we need to handle. We need to review all the documents and make sure that all the repairs are finalized. When we're reviewing the documents, on the day of closing, it's about a 45-minute process and it's a stack of paperwork a mile high. So for the people that want to read through line by line, this is a good time to get a copy of everything and start going through those documents. As far as the inspection repair requirements, we want to make sure that all those invoices are turned in and that those things were done properly and the way that everybody discussed that they would be done. So we're almost to closing. We have one more day. We still need to do the final walkthrough and get certified funds. Buyer, you'll want to secure the certified funds for the closing the following day. You'll also want to go and walk through the property one last time as a final walkthrough to make sure that there's no holes in the wall, to make sure the carpet's still the same color, to make sure they left all the appliances that they said they were going to. Seller, at that time, we're going to need access to the property. So the buyer will want to go in there. And I know you're trying to move, but this would be a good time for you to go grab a cup of coffee or a sandwich and take a little bit of a break before the final push of trying to get all of your stuff out of the house before closing. Congratulations, we did it. We're at the day of closing. Couple little things you need to remember. Bring your driver's license, bring the certified funds. Seller, what you're going to want to remember is to leave the keys and any garage combos, garage door remotes, anything that you promised inside of the contract, you'll want to leave there. It's also nice if you leave all the owner's manuals to any of the appliances or anything you left at the house for the buyer. It's a nice courtesy. We'll get done closing, and then once the deed is recorded, the keys will be released to the buyer, and then we will be closed. Congratulations to both the buyer and the seller for a successful real estate transaction in Lawrence, Kansas. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. There's a whole lot more details that need to be covered, but hopefully this gives you a general idea of the timeline and the time frame and the work and effort that's going to go into this process to get you to the closing table. Thank you so much. God bless.